So here's the tutorial we're going to be doing today. So you'll notice over here, we're going to do some, a little white dogwood tree. And then over here, we'll do a pink one. So, spring is coming and we're just going to have so much fun doing these bright colored trees after snowy trees and, bare trees. So we're going to do something springy with this. But like I said, this would be so cute to do as a Christmas one. And it's really so many of these things can be switched out, just changing a few little things on them, and they're great for another season. So always keep that in mind when you are purchasing things like this. What else can they be used for? I always think of that. Here is the little free stamp set that you're going to get when you buy this. So let me just tell you what the number of this is. So it is 5899. This is a covered bridge set, and it comes with the tree attached. So this is the large image here. It comes with this attached, and then also another tree. So you could make it really springy. You could grow your vines clear up over the top of this little covered bridge, which would be so cute. So I kind of left that on its own. So you can add it or not to your composition. And then this little vine here that can absolutely crawl up the side of the covered bridge. So this is another little bonus. The light, this one, you can hang that right here on the covered bridge. Now I left that off because I thought it would be so cute to put a wreath up there. So I still had Christmas on my brain when I was putting this set together. So it's separate, and you can add it to your composition or not if you want to do that Christmas scene. So you're getting 1, 2, 3, 4 stamps in this set. It's 5899 covered bridge set, and it is only available through Thursday at midnight. So Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday at midnight, and then it will be gone. So this is an exclusive set that we're bringing back. You will also get this. So this will come with it. You don't have to order it specifically. You don't have to add it to your order. You will just automatically get it with the covered bridge set. This is a little gift from us, a little cute pot that, this is the actual size here. So it's just a cute little pot, and you could add it to the corner of a card or just, anywhere. It'd be so cute. Even a row of them would be really cute. Different colors. It'd be so cute. And then here is the promo stamp. This one, Have a Sunny Day. I love this little stamp. And I remember where we were when we gave it away. It was at a CHA show, so at a wholesale show. We gave these away, and we had these little sunglasses that we gave away with it. So this is a really fun stamp that we did. This is available now. You can go to the website and get it. It is EF0424 Sunny Day, and only available till Thursday. So bring this one back. You can check that off on your list. For those of you who are checking off all these freebies, you'll want to make sure that you grab that one too. All right, I'm going to set these aside, and then we'll come back to it. I'll just do a little recap at the end, and we'll come back to it, and I'll kind of go over all the details again. So here is what we're doing. We're going to be doing this one. We're going to do these dogwood trees, the white and the pink, and then we're going to add our water in under the covered bridge and some little flowers. But you know what? The sky is the limit with these things, because changing up the colors changes everything. Fall would be so cute with this, with all the fall colors, maybe a pumpkin out front. It would just be so cute. It'd be fun to just do one for every season. It really would. It would just be fun. This is one of those stamp sets that is really, really versatile like that. You're not locked into any one season because it's very generic. And you can also leave things off. So, for example, on this one, you could leave the fence off. You could leave the little fences off, and you could just put Christmas, hedges or trees right here out in front, and just leave these little things off. When I did the Christmas one, I left the little pots off. I just didn't stamp those. So let me just, let me just show you that. But isn't this just so cute? I absolutely love this. And I love the seasons. Look how different this looks, just with the 2 seasons. Really, really versatile. It was kind of fun to get back to the snowy trees again. I haven't done that for a while, so it was kind of fun. Of course, these, trees with no branches, we just pile some snow on it and we're good to go. We can add snow to the top of the roof, put a little wreath here, and I just added some stripes to the post and made it just look really Christmassy. I left it, you can see here, I left the little fence, but I took the pots away. And honestly, you know, if you're putting a tree there, it's so dark that you could probably just stamp right over it and it wouldn't even matter. It would totally work fine. I put the little tire tracks in and, you know, froze over the pond, you know, the little creek. And I just think it was so easy. And this, by the way, was so easy to do. I mean, we know how to do snowy trees. You can find, you know, dozens of tutorials on snowy trees. And really that's the basic difference is, you know, the fir trees that are out front and then the snow in these trees. So that was a really fun project to do. And, you know, I love to see the contrast between the two. Okay, Holly, what is the original covered bridge number? It is, and let me just show you that because I haven't showed you guys that yet. This is it right here. It's P1212 is the covered bridge. Look at all the lines in it, you guys. I remember this too because we were just adding color with the marker just right over the top. So the only way to really get texture is to have the lines in the image. And that's why back then, these images were so detailed. You know, there were so many lines for grasses, for just everything. Look at this one. It's just full of lines. Really, really detailed lines. And the same with this. Look at this barn up here. Just so many lines up here. Because that's the only way that you could really get dimension into your drawing. Now we've kind of changed that. And we can get dimension in with shading and using our brush. And so that's kind of changed. And it's much more like a watercolor painting, you know, now. So things have changed a ton, you know, since way back when. But I'm not sure when this one actually, what catalog this actually came out in. We still had it in 1997 in this catalog right here. So I'm not sure, but we still had it in 1997, but still, that's been a long time ago. So this is the one. You can see the trees back here in the background. I changed direction on it and I just left one of the trees and made one separate. So, you know what, does anybody have this also? That would be really interesting to know if you guys, if you guys have this. Because, you know, that came out a long, long time ago. So you can see all the detailed in all the lines. You guys, if you see something you want me to bring back, take note really quick. Here we are. So anyway, you guys, let's move on. We're going to do our tutorial. So let me tell you what I've used in this one. So we're going to do this one. And so we'll put these, we'll just kind of set these aside for now. Here is our project that I have stamped. I've added the tree in the background. And because I'm doing the florals in these pots, I tuck this way back behind here so that it's not showing, the tree trunk isn't showing. So on here you can see that the tree, it's the full tree with the tree trunk. So you could push it over to where it's over here farther and you could see that actual tree trunk here. But I moved it right behind the barn and left this one. This one is part of the image. So I left that here. And then I added the little light on here, which is just, it's so cute. So the little lamp is on there and then stamped in the two colors. So we always stamp these images in two colors. So the dark blue, the 565, and the 969. So let me just zoom in a little bit here so you can really see. I love that I can zoom in closer now to these so that you're able to see the finished project much closer. All right, so here's what we're going to use in addition to this set. You know, so of course we're using the 5899 covered bridge set. We are also using the little mini foliage, so the 5372. So this one right here. We're just going to kind of add that into the background. And then the watercolor foliage set 3, this one, we're going to use these little grasses that are kind of growing up. And honestly, you know, when it comes to this now, you can use whatever in these pots. So it doesn't have to be this foliage set. I put these grasses in here just to fill up the pots, but you can put whatever you want in these in these pots. And you know, whatever you want to grow up the side of the the little covered bridge. My favorite little mini vines. So one of these two, either one, you could use either one, doesn't matter, whichever one is most comfortable. This is from Foliage set 4. So we're going to be using one of those. The branches set, also my go-to. I'm going to show you this one on here. We're going to just kind of grow this up over the top of the bridge. And then the flower set. So the little daisy bunch. And then in the foliage set, the little grasses. And that's it. That's all we need. That's all we need to add here. We're going to, you know, of course, be using our Dr. P.H. Martin's Bleed Proof White. And we're going to use it a little different way this time too. So this will be a fun tutorial, you guys. This will be a really fun one. All right, I'm going to make room for my palette. And then let's get started on this. So you know, when you're doing these large images, you want to stamp these off twice because we don't want to have too much color on these lines. And this is a really big image. So make sure you're stamping that off twice. And I would, you know, as always, with a large impression like this, I would use a stamp platform of some sorts. And there are multiple ones out there. I have the Misty one, but there are others that work great. And basically what it is, it's a platform with a lid, and you place your watercolor paper in there. The stamp adheres to the lid, and you can open and close it multiple times without moving your paper. So you can stamp over. So for example, if you stamp this image and maybe something doesn't show up quite right, you can add a little color to that and stamp it again. And then you can stamp it off and make sure that you're getting a light image, because this is really what we need. We need a really light image when we're watercoloring, because we want to add color to it, but we want the dimension of that base color. So we still want that in there, but we don't want to have a dark outline around anything. We don't want to see anything with a dark major outline all around it. It just doesn't look natural. And so we want this to look like an actual bridge that somebody painted, that you painted. All right, so I've got my water. I'm going to start out with my number 4 brush. And we're just going to pull some of this color out of the line. So we're going to start with the covered bridge. I always start with overhangs. I don't know, it's just kind of a habit with me. It really doesn't matter where you start with these. You could start with the flowers over here. You could start with the trees. It really doesn't matter. I tend to start with where things are darkest, and that would be like under this overhang here. So you can see under this overhang, that's going to be really dark under here, and also under here. You know, under these little trim boards here, we're going to see that up in here, inside. And when you start adding these darker colors in, you can you get a feel for the dimension of it. So you can kind of see where the dark and lights are, and that gives us that 3-dimensional look right away. You know, we can see back here that the bridge is going back, and so this is getting smaller back here. It's getting darker as we go. And then, of course, our little rocks under here, we're going to put a shadow under there. We're going to do all these things with color. So we're just kind of starting out just by dragging the color out of the lines. And once we get this step done, then we can start adding some color, some shadows, and all these things that go with the covered bridge. All right, so let's keep going with this. We're gonna add some color to it. Let's add a little color to the roof, and I'm gonna do that with my 969. I'm just gonna add it to my palette. 969, and then I'm going to add a little of this dark blue next to it. We're going to use these together when we do this tree. So you guys, this is going to be one of those times where you want to just trust the process, because we're going to really muddy this tree up. And the reason we're going to do that is because we need this dark color underneath. When we're adding all of this white in, we need this dark that's going to show through from the bottom. So keep in mind that this tree is going to be mostly white. So we're going to really muddy this up. So I'm going to put this blue. This is the 565 blue. And I'm going to put that right next to my my brown, because like I said, we're going to kind of mix that up, and we're going to get some gray, we're going to get some brown, some blue in here. Let's see, what other colors do we need in here? We're going to need some pink. This is that bright pink. This is 725. This is bright. We're going to use that. And then we're going to need some green. So the 249 green. Let's see, we want some of this blue, the 526. And I'm going to put this next to this blue, because we may just mix these colors up a little bit too when we go to do this. All right, let's see, what else? That'll probably be good for now. This will be good for now. This will get us a good start. All right, so we're going to take some of this brown, and we're going to just mix a little bit of it into the blue, because we're going to just kind of gray it up a little bit, just like this. And then we're going to add this color into the roof. And that's going to really, really darken that underneath there. And then we'll just take some of this blue here, and we're just going to do a little shadow next to it. And then one right here also. Just like that. Just a little bit. And then let's get some blue into these windows. And into these inside. And then up in here, this is going to be pretty dark up in here into this little kind of ceiling area. And we're going to come back and add some more color. So this is just the first, kind of the first pass. And let's add just a little bit to this little light that's hanging down. I kind of feel like it would be like metal. And so it's going to have some gray and maybe a little bit of brown on it. Okay, just like that. We'll come back with our twin tone too, you guys. This is a process. So, you know, we just kind of get started, and then as we go, we add more and more to it. All right, so let's get some color onto the roof. And you can see I'm leaving a little bit of a light where the light can kind of come down. So on the edge of the roof, you know, we really try not to ever color clear to the line. Just try to avoid doing that. I know it's hard. See if there's, you guys, I'm so bad at looking up these comments, but I'm looking to see if anybody has any questions. Oh yeah, Pat says, I'd love to win an original. Absolutely. So you guys be sure to put that in the comments if you want to be in the drawing to win this original, and the Christmas one. I'll give that one away too. All right, so let's keep going here. And I'm going to add just a little bit of this brown now to the tree, just to the tree trunks. You know, we don't have to do all of it, just the part that's going to be showing here. Like this. And then, like I said, we're just going to muddy these trees up big time. All right, so let's put a little bit more of this brown into here. Into here. And then when we go to do the shadows, we'll add some more of the blue in here. But right now, we're going to for sure do a little shadow on the side of the door here. Put some color. You know, with a bridge, with this bridge, where it has the opening out here, back in here is going to be the darkest. So this, you know, back in here, we can really make that dark back in there as it goes back inside. Back inside that bridge. Okay, now the rocks. So we're going to add a little of this gray, which is just a combination of the two colors. So it's the black and the brown, or the brown and the blue. And we're going to keep that color to the bottom. We still want to see that highlight on these rocks. So the majority of the color is going to be down on the bottom. And let's just put our water in. So under here, the water is just going to kind of come out like this. And I just, mix a couple of these, the blues together. Just kind of mix that together. And got this blue. So honestly, it doesn't matter. You could just do the dark blue too. So got our water in. Okay, what should we do next? All right, let's add a little more of this blue back here. This is going to be more in the shadow. It's right by that tree. So back in here is going to be just a little bit darker. And then let's just make this a little bit darker here inside. And then inside here, this is going to be a pretty big shadow in here. And we're just going to take our brush and we're just going to kind of make a little arch that kind of comes down this way. And this is, it can be a little scary to do that, but it will make a big difference in the end where you're just kind of seeing this shadow. And we're going to just keep coming back to that ceiling. We're just going to be adding more and more color to that ceiling because that's going to be really, really dark. And really here in this too. And where you can get that dark to light contrast, that's where you really, really get your dimension. Now under here on these rocks, this is going to be a dark shadow here. And actually this shadow is going to kind of go all the way over like this. And it's going to create a shadow underneath here too. Underneath that little covered bridge. Okay, so let's keep going. Let's go to our twin tone. So we can just kind of finish up the details on this covered bridge. So I'm using my brown twin tone, and I'm gonna just get this detail in the light here. So inside, and you can see how that, when you put that dark color in, how that just really kind of pops things. It just makes it look, makes it have more dimension. And in here, I'm just going to go under these lines here and see how that also just really brings that detail out. And because we're looking this direction, we're going to see the side of these boards. So that's why we're putting this dark color on this side, not the other side. And you know what? We can add just a little darker areas on these rocks now with this twin tone. And you can add some detail to the side here. Maybe make it look like it's got a little crack in it. You could add some more, planks to it, and make it look more rustic. And then, of course, up in here, and in here, in this little crack up here, where the roof kind of comes to a point, this is going to be really dark also. It's going to be really, really dark up in there. And it's the same in here, this area back in the back. And here's where you can put some of these details into. So you can kind of complete these lines, just finish these lines. And you can kind of drag them, make these a little more defined back here. Maybe we just add a plank across here like this. These are all things that we have to do later because if they're included in the stamp, it's not, they're too bold. So when we do these details, like putting in these little extra lines back here, that's something that we want to do later with a fine tip so that they're not too, They're not too bold. Okay, so let's go on to the trees, you guys. Let's go on to the trees. Actually, you know what? Let's wait on the trees because we're gonna get into the white paint. So let's do the little flower baskets right now. Let's go to these, and I'm just gonna add a little shadow to them, and to the little fence. And you could make this fence whatever color you want. On my original, I made it brown, just a kind of a really light brown, but you could leave it white too. And let's put some color. Let's put some color on here. We'll just put a little light brown. This is the 977. And let's just put a little of this color on here. Back here in the back. And then, you know, we're going to leave this open because we're going to fill this pot too. So we don't have it completely, we want to have this color come completely down to the bottom. All right, so let's put our foliage in. So I'm going to start out with the little grasses, and I'm going to use my 249, and I don't need the whole thing. I just kind of need the tips of it here, and I'm just going to guess. You could use a piece of Post-it tape and cover the tops of them too if you want to. And then I'm going to use my blue pen, so my 565, and my little daisy bunch, and I just need to ink the little ones. So if you look at it really closely here, I'll kind of put it in the light. It's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 little blooms in here. I'm just using the 2 on the right and the little dot right here. So just these, because I'm doing a really small pot. So it's really small, and I don't need the huge stamp. And then I'm gonna just clean that off, and I'm just gonna do another color. So we're just gonna take this purple now, the 636 purple, and I'm gonna do the same thing, just the 2. And I've kind of got them hanging off the side, which I think kind of adds a lot. And then let's just change the color up a little bit, and let's put in the little vine, just a little bit. And we're just inking parts of it. So just the kind of the very top. And now we can just add some water to it. So we're just kind of tapping it. Want to see that, you know, those white spaces. And always pinch off your brush when you're adding water to these things, so you don't get too much. You don't want to have a kind of a blob. And this little grass, we're just going to drag that color just all the way out. So you can see you can use any floral that you want in here. You know, it doesn't matter. Long stem would be really cute. Just greenery alone would also be really cute. You could add some white daisies. Just put your greenery in and just add some white into these little pots. So let's just do a little, you know, you guys, me and my stripes. I gotta have stripes on the pot. So, okay, let's put our sky in, because we're gonna need that. I'm gonna mess up my number here, but we're gonna mix this up and we're gonna put a sky in. And you know, you can get all kinds of variations of blue when you mix these two colors up. They really, really, you can get a warmer or a cool depending on how much of each color that you put on. So we're just gonna put this in. Now with the pink dogwood, we don't want to get too much blue next to it, because we're going to get a lot of pink, and the pink is pretty light. So we want to leave some space for that pink. And this one too, we're gonna really mess this one up. So we're gonna add some more color to it. But for now, we're just gonna drop this sky to about here. And then we've got our little, our greenery that's gonna be going in here. And we'll get to that next. So let's continue. I'm gonna add some of this green now into the background. And I'm just gonna kind of create a little hill here. You know, and it will kind of give the impression that the road kind of goes this direction. And here's the bank for our water, a little creek. So we're kind of coming around this way. And then let's add some of this green also into here. So here's this other bank. And it's coming down like this. And then we're gonna add the little country road tire tracks. So we're just gonna put a little green next to the fence. Okay, just like so. Don't stress out about this part, you guys, because we're gonna put grasses in and all kinds of things in here too. So let's get those in. We're going to add our little stamps in the background. So that's this guy right here. And I'm just gonna use my 249 green. And I don't need the whole thing because I'm only going this far. So I'm just gonna ink to about here. And just kind of tap that into the background. Get some little foliage in there. I love this stamp. I use it so much. It's just a great little hedge for the background. It just works great. Okay, so we're going to drag a little of that color down. And then let's get our little grass out. So this one, you know what? Let's just do one more thing here with the green. So we're just going to add a green patch just kind of coming right down the middle. Just like so. Now we got our little grass. This is a tiny little grass from the foliage set. And I'm going to use my, you know what, let's use this green. So the 249, doesn't matter. You could use whatever green you want. And we're going to just go along the little creek. And we're just going to go along here also. It just kind of gives us a definition as to where the water is and the bank is. And then we're going to just put some grass in here next to these pots. And we can put some in here as well. And we'll just go right along these fences. You know, and it doesn't matter, you know, how you're stamping these, because when you're stamping the grass, you can go up like this, you know, or you can go like this. You can do that. It's just made to walk. You can go straight like this, or you can go in one place like this. So it's really, you don't have to stress out about how you're holding your stamp when you're doing it. And by the way, I always put my stamp in the top corner. And you know, that's not something that you have to do, but I find that it's easier for me to control it and see where it's going than if it were in the middle. You know, if it's in the middle, it's much harder to kind of see where you're going with it. This way, you know, it's right here in the corner of your block. So I don't know if that's helpful to you or not to know that, but that's just how I do it. It doesn't matter what stamp it is. It's in the corner of the block for me. All right, so here's where we're just going to kind of, you know, walk this along, just kind of on top of itself. And we're going to put that right into the center. And then we're going to add our water to it. you can drag this grass out so that it kind of hangs over that water and it looks like it's growing right on the bank. And this one, if you get a little green into the water, that's okay because it just looks like a little shadow or a reflection. So that's okay to do that. You could also add a little bit of green to your rocks under here just to kind of give it that mossy look. You can do that. Let's just add a little more of some little water lines here. Where that water is just kind of flowing from under the bridge. All right, let's keep going here. So let's get this grass in. And you know, we're just kind of softening these lines and dragging this color out. And in this little section here, we're just pulling this out too. This grass, you know, when you add water to it, it looks really natural. You'd never guess that all of this grass was just that tiny little stamp of lines. Okay, so we're gonna add some brown now in here. Just to kind of get our dirt road in. And you could, you know, here's that, this is the 977. And, you know, I'm just adding a little bit of this 969 also into it, especially kind of up here where it would be just a little bit darker. And just kind of let it just fade out. Just let it fade out. Little dirt road there, so cute. And let's just add a little more color going back into that covered bridge. Let's grow some vines up over the top here, and let's just use our little branch, this little branch here, and we'll just grow some of this. I'm using two colors, so the 969 and the 249. I'm just gonna put that right over the top. And we're just gonna kind of grow this up over here like this. And let's change colors. So we're gonna go with the 177. And let's just put some of this in. You could do as much of this as you want or none. You don't have to put this in. But I think it just kind of adds to the charm of it. You know, it's kind of overgrown. It makes you think that this bridge has been there for a long time and it's just got all this stuff growing on it. And I'm gonna wash this line out. See how that line stamped over the top of that post? I don't want that there. So I'm just gonna kind of wash it out. And then if it's still there, you can just use your white paint or your, we could put a little color on here too. And just do away with that. I'm still leaving, even when I add color to these things, I'm still leaving some white areas. You know, we just never want to color anything in solid. And I think I'm going to take my little twin tone again and get these little details in here where the posts would be. Would be just a little, you know, opening here where those posts kind of fit in. And, you know, you can add just a little bit of texture to these posts too. All right, so let's add some water to this, and we're gonna add some white flowers to it, so it's gonna be really cute. Just touch it, just dab it. Like so. We've got our little shrub growing up and over that little covered bridge. And I'm going to add just a little bit more. Actually, you know what? Let's just mix the greens up. Let's add a little of the 249 in here too. Just to kind of give it a little more depth. And I'm just, you know what? It's just touching it. We're just touching it. Okay. So now we're ready to go to the trees, and we're going to really mess this one up first. So let's do the white one first. We're going to add some brown to the background. And we're just going to really, we're going to really mess this up. Blend all these lines out. Just like this. And then get some of this blue in here. And think about, you know, this tree is going to be white. So, you know, trust the process. It's, you know, it's a little concerning to add this into your composition, but you guys, it's going to be so cute. Would love to win this. Okay, guys, yes, be sure to put that in the comments. You will be entered into the drawing to win this. Okay, so we need that back in the background, you guys. We need this dark color back here. So we're putting it in. And then we're going to get just a little darker, kind of a darker sky back here. And isn't that just the most beautiful tree you've ever seen? Okay, well, it's going to be. You guys, trust me. All right, so now with this one, we don't really have to do much here. We're just going to maybe just, you know, blend the color out a little bit. Just pull a little bit of this color out. It's pretty light anyway. And drag that color over. All right, so now let's go to the pink tree, and I'm just going to clean off I've just got a baby wipe, so I'm just going to clean the color off of my stamp since we stamped it in that purple last. And I'm going to get my pink. So this is the pink I'm going to start out with, the 743. It's a lighter pink, and we're going to start out with the Daisy Bunch. We're going to ink the whole thing. And we're just going to put it into this tree. Just kind of, you know, stamp it around in a circle. You know, not like this. Don't stamp it like that. Just go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And ink it again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And just keep going. We need to get a good amount of color on here. And let's just go out a little bit more. So now we can add our water to it. And just dab. Let it kind of blend out a little bit. You know, but we still want to kind of see those details because these are all little blooms in this tree. They're all just small little blooms. Just keep blending this out. You can bring that pink all the way down to the top of the roof. Okay? Now let's go to our darker pink. So we're going to go to this color now. This is a 725, and we're going to go with this one next. So we're going to just ink this up. We don't need to clean it since it's already got pink on it. And we're just going to go kind of think about going under these little clumps. So this is darker. This is that darker pink. So it's going to be like more in the shadow. We added some brightness to this composition, didn't we? Just adding that pink in there is just so cute. So you can see this dark pink kind of looks like it's in the shadow. So the very top of the tree is lighter because that's where the light is. And then as you kind of, go down under the branches, you're going to see that it gets darker underneath there. Okay, now we're going to come back to this with our white paint. So in the meantime, I'm going to take my twin tone now and I'm going to darken in, these areas of the tree that we can see. And maybe we put a few little branches up here too, just up in here. So just like that. We can do the same with this tree too. We can just add some details into it. Just like so. All right, so now let's go to our white paint. We need some white paint in this composition and we are gonna load it up with white paint. All right, so I've got my white paint. I'm gonna use my number 4 brush and I'm just gonna kind of move this out of the way a little bit and maybe I'll just see if I can zoom in a little closer even. All right, so I've got my white paint and I'm gonna just dip my brush. And the first time, check the consistency because if it's too thick, you want to add some water to it. You want to add just a little bit of water to it. And I just dip the tip of my brush in the water and then I just put it back in the paint. And then just kind of mix it up with your brush. And I just kind of bring it to the side. It feels like it's easier for me to control. You can tell by looking at the sides of my paint, that's what I do. But it's also really easy to clean up. Okay, so now that I've got some paint on my brush, I'm gonna go in and do all my little white flowers on here first. So I'm just gonna add all these little white blooms to my vine. I think this is just makes such a difference when you do this. And if you can see any of the line showing through, see on here, you can see a little bit of the covered bridge line showing through. Just put some white on it. You can just cover that right up. Especially in these areas where it's really dark, you've got a lot of dark color. You can, the white just really pops out. You can just kind of hang that over. Just hang that over. I just love these little white flowers in the grasses too. You can put just a few of them in here if you want. You can put these wherever. This is my favorite way to complete a painting now. Just putting in all the little white areas. I just think it just kind of cheers it up. We can put some in here. Okay, so let's go on to our tree. And we are going to get some white paint in this tree. So really what we're going to be doing is just a lot of little, areas like this. Oops, got a little bit too much here. We're just going to get a lot of these little florals in here in this tree. Just keep dabbing and just keep putting it in. Leave those spaces kind of showing through, so don't get it all in there solid. And just keep dabbing it in here, just like this. You get some kind of big blotches, that's okay too. That means there's just a big, large group of flowers, of blooms kind of showing through. Some of these kind of have these little branches that kind of come down, they kind of shoot out from the tree. You can put some of those in. But this is just the easiest thing, you guys. It's just the easiest thing to do. It's so fun. You can see it's starting to take shape, huh? Andrea, the white, or is it Andrea or Andrea? The white flowers make it pop. I love that. Me too. Me too. It's my favorite thing to do. And I always try to find a way to use the white paint, even if I don't really need it in there. I try to find at least one place where I can put some white paint. So you can see all these little blooms in here and see that dark color showing through. This is why we needed to put that dark color in there before we started adding the white. Because we had to see that underneath. Otherwise the white it doesn't have any substance. Okay, I think we're pretty good here. We've got all of our little, and blend this out to the edge. Just blend it out to the edge. All right, now for the pink, we're gonna mix a little of this white with the pink. So I'm gonna move my palette over. Actually, let's just go like this. Let's go like this and let's get some more pink on here. So this is that 725. And we're going to take some of this white and we're just going to put it onto our palette like this. And then we're going to mix a little of this with the pink. And we're just going to add a few more of these on here. And this will kind of give it that three-dimensional look. Kind of like this, because this pops out a little bit. And this will kind of cover any areas also that maybe you've got, with the tree showing or anything like that. You can just cover that up. So cute. You can also take some of this and maybe you put some of this into your little basket. Or maybe just a few down here. Maybe we've got just a few in here also, with a little bit of pink. How cute is that? This is the funnest thing, you guys. This is the funnest thing to do. And, because you're mixing that white paint with it, you're able to get that coverage. Okay, so I'm going to now clean my brush off and just close up my white paint. And I'm gonna just look at this and see if there's anywhere else that I need to add some of my twin tone. And I'm gonna just add in here just a few little branches. Just a few little branches, you know, kind of in here. You don't really have to. If you have enough dark color in here, you don't really have to do this, but you can. And with the white, so with the white, I'm going to switch to my tiny brush, and I'm just going to add a little bit of a shadow underneath some of these white blooms. So with the blue, this is the 969 or the 565. 565. I'm just going to take a little tiny bit with my brush and just kind of go in here with a little bit of a shadow. Make sure it's dry first and just kind of tap this in a little bit. That you guys can make dogwood trees till the cows come home. Isn't this fun? Okay, are we finished? We're awfully close. So I'm just going to put a little more color into the rocks. We've got a really good shadow here. Let's get a shadow now on this tree. Make sure we've got this up in here is really dark. And these windows too. And I think, you guys, we're done. This is also the funnest part, is just kind of going through here and just kind of touching up little areas, things that you see that, you know, may just need a little touch up. We can add just a few little rocks in here. And you guys, we are finished with this composition. All right, so one thing left to do, sign a date, which I will do right now. Okay, and let me move this out of the way and let me show you this again. So those of you who may just be tuning in, this is the composition we did today, but look at this Christmas version. So let me just zoom out a little bit. And here's a Christmas version of that. So you could do the trees, the bare trees with the snow in it. You could do some snowy trees on the front and just absolutely change this up so much. This little bridge, it's really, really easy. It really is. Take it one step at a time. Just do one section at a time and take your time, and you'll be surprised how it comes out, honestly. It'll just come out so cute. So here is what it is. Let me show you that set. Let me show you where it is. So here it is. This is the covered bridge set, and it comes with, this is the basic image. It comes with these little pots and the tree that's attached to it. It has this really cute little vine that you could just grow up everywhere. The little the light that you could hang right in the eaves here, and then this extra tree. So you can add that to it if you want to. And here's the illustration on the front. So you have an illustration on the front that you can look at when you're putting this together. So this comes with 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4 stamps. And then as a free gift, you get this little potted plant, which is so cute. And it is just free with this. So if you purchase the covered bridge, you're going to get the little potted plant free. And then here is the promo one. So this is the one that we release every month. We go back and find a promo stamp that we have not seen in a long, long time and bring it back just for the 3 days. So you guys check those out on the website. They're available right now. And you guys can see all of them on the website. So let me switch back so that I can see you guys. Let's see here. Okay, there we are. I couldn't find the mouse for a second, you guys. Okay, what did you guys think of that project? It's just so cute and super easy. So take things one step at a time. Even if something looks like it's really complicated, if you just break it down and go one thing at a time. Will there be back to basics tonight? That is a good question. I don't think so, but we will be posting that really, really quickly after this live to let you guys know what the status is on that. You guys, thank you so much for following. Thanks for being on with me. The throwback is good until Thursday at midnight Pacific time. So you want to grab yours as quick as you can. Supplies are limited on these. So grab that. And I'll be back tomorrow with another watercolor project for Watercolor Wednesday. And we'll do some more watercoloring together. So thanks everyone. If you have questions, just put them into the comments. Leah will be on or Joel will be on. Someone can answer those questions. And okay, I see a question here. Bonnie, please do a poodle and a manatee. Okay, I'm going to write that on my list. Absolutely. You guys, those of you who are watching on YouTube, be sure to give us a thumbs up on YouTube and subscribe. And if you ring that little bell, if you click that little bell at the top, you'll get a notification when a new live is up. So you guys, welcome to all of our YouTube people. We're so glad to be back with you again. Welcome also to our Facebook people who have been with us forever. Thank you so much. This has been great. I'm glad to be able to be live with all of you. So have a great day, you guys. I will see you back tomorrow, 10 o'clock a.m. Pacific time for another watercolor project.